Hello, I'm Nicole Amatefio, and I handle new media for the Africa department at the World Bank. Welcome to the 2012 Spring Meetings. We are joined today by Helen Hai, Vice President and General Manager of Overseas Investment at the Huajian Group, one of the largest shoe factories with over 25,000 employees in China. Welcome, Helen. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Nicole.
Now, Helen, you currently have operations in Ethiopia. Why did you choose Ethiopia as an investment destination?
We got approached by the Prime Minister Meles of Ethiopia last August during his trip to China. And after that, in 1 month's time, he invited us to visit Ethiopia to invest. We came to Ethiopia first time on the 22nd of September. And 2 days later, we had a private meeting with Prime Minister Meles. And during the meeting, he said to us, currently in Ethiopia's growth and transformation plan, they would like to use industry development to drive the economy. And in 3 months' time, they are going to have the Africa Union meeting in Africa, in Addis Ababa. So they would wish he could have a Chinese factory ready by then. We took the challenge and very pleased to say our factory started opening on January the 5th. It only took us 3 months from decide to investment to the first production line.
What is Ethiopia's story in terms of economic development, and what makes it different from neighboring countries in East Africa?
Ethiopia has been doing very well economically. In the past 10 years, it showed double-digit real GDP growth.
And what role does the government play in ensuring an enabling environment for the private sector?
For the private sector, I think first of all, from the top level, the willingness of the government want to attract foreign investors is very important. And with that as the assumption, then the willingness, they recognize the current difficulties and willing to partnership with the private sector to make the changes. This we think is very important instead of some government just taking money from the private sector.
We got a lot of questions from Uganda and Kenya asking, what is the secret to job creation?
We think the fundamental of the job creation, it is the economic growth. And I can share with you one of the things we are currently doing with the students in Ethiopia. Right now, we are working partnership with the Leather Institute of Ethiopia and also World Bank. We are trying to create a 3-month training program open to anybody, any young people from the public. They can come to our factory to learn how to make shoes. We provide all the training materials, all the trainers, and then at the end of the 3 months, they will have a certificate which issued jointly by us and the Leather Institute of the government. With this institute certificate, they can choose either to work for us or they can to work for any other shoes factory in Ethiopia.
Great. We had a question or a comment from one of our online users from Ethiopia. She said, you are a very good role model for women around the world. How do you compare the role of women in Ethiopia to the role of women in China?
I can share you a true story. Last year, when I first came to Addis Ababa, I stayed in Sheraton. As you might know, Sheraton, that's a standard 5-star hotel. When you're inside the hotel, you don't know you are in Africa. And after the dinner, I was walking along the garden, and then I see beautiful roses. They grow from Ethiopia, and I felt I'm in Europe again. And suddenly I hear the music, so I was just following the music, and I went to the bar, which I saw there's a lot of Westerners singing and dancing in the bar, but there is no local, which remind me a true story when I was a little girl. And that was 30 years back. It is the first time my father took me to the capital of China, which is Beijing. At that time, there's only one 5-star hotel called Beijing Hotel. And my father took me to the reception. We wanted to check in. And then they told us the rate is $100 US. My father immediately said, that's too expensive, we cannot afford. So the moment we are leaving the hotel, I turned my head back as a little girl. So I thought, And then I saw there was all Westerners in the lobby without Chinese. So in my little heart, I thought that's a word never belongs to me. But look at the changes in China. I went to Europe, get educated and trained in the past 10 years. So I think outside the big gate of Sheraton in Addis Ababa, there will be a lot of young girls like me. They think inside the big gate of Sheraton, there's a word not belonging to them at this moment. But what they don't know is in 30 years' time, there will be a lot of changes they never imagined.
Well, thank you so much, Helen, for sharing your story. And thank you so much for joining us at World Bank Live.